Welcome to my channel. I'm Kristen, and today we're doing some fall DIYs, and the first one I'm using this standing pumpkin, and this is from Hobby Lobby. I picked this up for 80 or 90% off last year, so it was under $1 or maybe just over, maybe $1.19, something like that. Anyways, you can still grab them at Hobby Lobby this year. They have them every single year, and I think these are great because they stand alone and it's awesome. So I'm using that pumpkin Waverly chalk paint, of course, and then I'm just going to go ahead and add this to the front. Now, I didn't paint the back. I'm kind of just lazy when it comes to that, but if you're going to show this and you're going to show the back, you might want to paint it. I also had this sign from Dollar General. I grabbed this after the holiday last year and it was 30 cents. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut off that Happy Harvest part. And of course, I couldn't forget to paint the bottom of this. I'm just using the color dark. No, I don't even know what color this is. This is just by Apple Barrel. It's just a brown acrylic paint. I want to say I did know what the color was, and now I cannot think of it to save my life. But once that was all painted, I did want to just dry brush. So I am just using my chip brush. I grabbed this from Dixie Belle, but you can find them on Amazon or any craft store. And once that was done dry brushing, I just grabbed my hot glue gun and glued that Happy Harvest right to the center. Now I'm just using some of this garland from Dollar Tree and some florals that I picked up at Michael's. They were only 99 cents. Now keep in mind, a lot of the items that I used this year, I picked them up last year after the holiday season. I honestly just think it is the way to go with the prices going up absolutely everywhere. So I know people want to complain about Dollar Tree, as I do all the time, but pretty much every store has gone up. Even Hobby Lobby, I have noticed some of the prices are a little steeper than last year. Just thankfully that they always have things on sale from 40 to 60% off. Now I'm just adding those florals, and then I'm just going to be wrapping that garland around my finger just to give it that really fun like loopy effect. And then I'm just going to wrap it around the stem, and I think this turned out so cute. This one, I'm using some scrapbook paper I had in my stash, and I'm also using these wooden houses I picked up at a thrift store. They were $1.50 a piece, which I didn't think was such a bad deal. Maybe, maybe not. They are just pieces of wood, which we could probably just make our own, but sometimes things just already pre-made, it's just so much easier. So once I cut out that scrapbook paper, I'm just going to use a glue stick to add the scrapbook paper to the top. Of course, I needed a few different types of embellishments. So the first thing I did was just grab some twine, and I'm going to be wrapping the twine around the center of each of the houses. All right, and now I am just going to be adding some bows to the center, and then I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I also found these little faux mums. These are from Hobby Lobby. So I just thought I would add one bow to the center and then a flower to the middle of the other one. project, I'm using these wooden hoops with beads and these pieces of wood that obviously they were used for a wedding. I paid $1 a piece for these, and these wooden bead wreath forms. I know they're originally from Dollar Tree, but I picked up 4 or 5 of them in a pack for $1.50 at a yard sale. And then I am just pulling them apart, and we're going to be adding these beads throughout the entire border of this sign. I thought it'd be super cute to make a fun tray, and I thought that this was such an affordable way to do it because I probably paid under $2.50 in total for this whole project, which I think is amazing. Anything that is under a couple bucks, it's my kind of craft. Once the beads were all glued, I'm just using my hot glue gun and gluing all around the tops of the beads. Like I said, we're going to be making a tray, so I wanted that second piece of wood to go over the top so you'd be able to see the beads through or on the sides of this tray, but without seeing the actual bead part, like the little hole that the string goes in. And then of course we had to add some tiny little feet, so I'm adding 4 more wooden beads on each corner. And then just to finish it off to make it look like fall, we're using a Couture silkscreen stencil. This one is from this year, and I loved it, and I really wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, so I thought this would be perfect for the project. I'm just going to be adding it to the bottom and using some orange chalk paste to add it, and then I love it. I think this is such a fun fall tray. I have so many galvanized items and I always forget about them. So I grabbed this galvanized bucket from Dollar Tree a few years ago, and I'm just going to be adding this rub-on transfer, and I'll link the transfers down below if you guys want to check them out. I grabbed them a couple years ago, but they do still have them in stock on Amazon. I love this little red truck. I'm not a huge red truck person like I used to be, but for some reason they are still really great to have out for the fall season, and I do like having a couple out during Christmas time, but the fall they just seem to be so much better looking. So of course I had to add that to the front of the galvanized bucket, and then just some fall florals, and I just went ahead and added these pumpkins in there as well. I'm just using some skewer sticks to poke them in the bottom of the pumpkins so I can add them into the bouquet. Pumpkin sign is originally from Dollar Tree. I've had this for a couple years. All I did was just flip it over and start painting the other side of it. So you're still going to see that happy fall y'all on the other side. And then, so I guess it kind of could be reversible if I wanted it to. I'm just adding that color Pumpkin by Waverly chalk paint once again on this pumpkin. That was dry, I'm using another rub-on transfer. This is from the same pack. I have used a few of them in the last couple of videos, and I just really want to use these up since I did buy them. I want to say when I looked on Amazon, it was like $20, $21 2021 or 2022 that I bought these. Figured I definitely need to use them. Then I just made a twine bow. I just make these really simple, just wrapping them around my fingers and then tying them off. And this is just kind of a simple craft, but I love it. DIY, I'm using nutmeg brown, that is the color, along with the pumpkin, mixing the two colors together. These are just scrap pieces of wood that we had left over, and I make my husband keep every single scrap piece of wood that we have ever had because you just never know what you can create and make with it. So I decided to mix the two colors together because I wanted to make some cute little pumpkin pies. So he did cut the triangles out for me, and then now I'm just using some caulk with one of those little piping bag tips or those little cake tips to make that fun style on the faux pumpkin pies. So I'm just kind of using, I think it's like a star tip. I'm not really sure. I'm not a baker, but I just thought that these were super fun to make. So I just made like the whipped cream around the edges, and then I just did one dab right in the center of each of these. And since we had quite a few of these, they are not perfect, and I was not upset about that. I just went ahead and taped off the middle of these because I thought it'd be fun to make some candy corns as well with the scrap wood, which I consider free, although it probably cost a pretty penny at the store to begin with. Like, we used what we needed to use, and you know, the leftovers is 100% free. So I'm just using some acrylic paint for this. I just went ahead and used, I don't even know what color. I think it's just honestly yellow. And then I used, of course, the pumpkin and Waverly chalk paint and Snow White in Waverly chalk paint as well to make these candy corns. That is it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and if you are new to my channel, I would love you to stick around and subscribe. Till then, I will see you all in the next one. Bye!